Everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. Earlier in the year, I did a What's Up Wednesday on fall protection equipment compatibility. In that What's Up Wednesday, I talked a little bit about some simple do's and don'ts when it comes to utilizing personal fall arrest systems and fall protection equipment. This week, I want to go a little bit deeper into that topic. I also did a What's Up Wednesday recently on observational competency, which is basically the idea around this topic is how do we know if our leadership team, if our people, our safety professionals, our foremen know what they're looking at when they look at a situation. And one of the themes of that What's Up Wednesday is just because it's compliant, meaning they're tied off, doesn't mean they're safe. And I think that this is a topic that needs a lot of conversation. Now, if you're fairly new to the What's Up Wednesdays that we do every single week, you can go to the Intuitive Safety Solutions LinkedIn page and you can see all of our past What's Up Wednesdays. I think we're probably pushing at least 100 of them at this point. I'm not sure, but we're getting close. So this week, I want to talk a little bit about the use of personal fall arrest systems and equipment. And the thing that kind of spurred this was I was watching a show the other night and a commercial came on the television for a roofing company, and they're showing their roofers talking about the quality of their work and this and that. And they're showing their roofers standing on a roof. They have harnesses on. They have a rope grab with a shock absorber attached to their back D-ring on their harness. And then they've got 7,500-foot rope lifelines. And you can see the lifeline pooled up on the roof, kind of covering all over the roof. And you look at that and immediately a trained eye says, okay, that person falls, they're going to hit the ground because they have 30 feet of lifeline laying on the deck. And there's no way it's going to stop them from hitting the ground. They're compliant, but they're not safe. So, when we're looking at the use of personal fall arrest systems, it's really critical that we know what we're looking at. And some of the key things to look at, I think you start with the anchorage. And the anchorage is what you're connecting to. I'm not talking about a D-ring or a connector. I'm talking about the actual anchor. Is it capable of withstanding 5,000 pounds of force? And I know that sometimes the requirement's less than 5,000 pounds, but that depends on an engineered system, basically. So is that we used to say capable of supporting your vehicle? Would you feel comfortable attaching your car and hoisting it up on that anchor point? If the answer is no, we usually say find a better anchor point. And that's often the biggest challenge we have in fall protection is finding an adequate anchor point, especially when we're talking about that kind of roofing work where there are very limited places you can put anchors. The second thing would be the actual anchorage connector. And that's the connection that we're attaching to that anchor, whether it's embedded in concrete, it's nailed into wood, it's welded to metal, whatever it may be. It could be poured into concrete if it's a web strap D-ring. So there are a lot of different types of anchorage connectors. And it's really important that we're looking for fall protection anchors that are rated and labeled, not something that came from rigging or something that was jerry-rigged, so to speak. And, those are two really big things that I'm looking for. I'm also looking for the height of the anchor. Where is it? Is it overhead? Is it at D-ring level? Is it below D-ring level? Anything below D-ring level really creates a whole set of challenges that is an hour conversation in its own. And then from there, we have to look at the connecting device that we're using. Are we using a self-retracting device? And is that a self-retracting device that's designed only for overhead use, or a self-retracting device that is designed for a horizontal application, meaning we might be attaching it below our back D-ring and it's rated for a fall over an edge? So these are some things to consider. I know for a while we had real big issues with self-retracting devices where people were following overexposed edges and the cables were being severed. So as a result, we began to issue pigtail extensions. At first, it was just a piece of webbing with a snap hook on one end and a D-ring on the other. Then we went to a shock absorbing pack. We still see those being used today, but all the manufacturers will tell you don't. If we need one of those in the system, we're going to attach it to the cable on the self-retracting lifeline. If you're not using a self-retracting lifeline, then there's a chance that you could be using a rope grab with a rope lifeline of some kind or some kind of a lanyard. And it's really important that we make sure that the lanyard is rated for the type of fall. Is it a 6-foot fall, meaning you're tied off at the same height as your back D-ring, or is it a lanyard that's designed for a fall of greater than 6 feet, meaning you're attaching to an anchorage connector below your back D-ring? Really important things to understand because the dynamics of the equipment change. Also, oftentimes we'll see somebody with a double lanyard because we require 100% tie off. And the idea with 100% tie off is you're attached to an anchor point and you need to move. So you connect the other leg of that lanyard to another anchor point, you disconnect and move on. Oftentimes we're seeing people attach both of those lanyards and keep them attached. And the reality is that that increases the potential impact forces on the body. It is a practice that is not recommended. It is best to only have one leg of a lanyard attached. Finally, the last piece of the equipment of a normal or a basic system would be the body harness. And what I see very commonly with the misuse of a harness is the fact that it's not adjusted properly. The D-rings aren't where they need to be between the shoulder blades. The leg straps are too loose. The harness in general is too loose. And the issue with a loose harness is, one, it's going to seat itself however it sees fit in a fall. Meaning if the leg straps are too loose, you don't know where they're going to end up. If the leg straps are properly attached, it's going to stay, they're going to stay right where they belong. And you're not going to potentially incur major damage, if you know what I mean. And the other thing is that the harness is going to naturally, I don't want to say stretch, but you're going to see that D-ring go from between your shoulder blades to potentially up to the top of your head when you fall. So you're going to see that harness, I don't want to say stretch, but you're going to see movement in that harness, which is an increase in your fall distance. And then I think the last thing to kind of sum this up to consider is that we need to consider the amount of distance we have between our feet and the ground, and then the total impact of the system to determine whether we're set up to not hit the ground. And that's something that takes a trained eye and a lot of training. Now, I used to consider myself a subject matter expert on this topic because I sold equipment for over 10 years in the construction industry. But now I would say that equipment is changing so much because of the changes in the ANSI standards and really tough lessons learned from fatalities that you need to stay up to speed. You need to be retrained constantly. And it's really important we understand this stuff because people think that they're safe because they're tied off and they're compliant. But more often than not, I look around and I can nitpick the heck out of the way they're using that equipment and give you 10 reasons why it's not going to work. So hopefully that helps. If anything, and you take anything from this What's Up Wednesday, polish up a little bit on your fall protection knowledge and spend a little bit of time talking with your people about the importance of making sure equipment's being used properly and we're selecting the right equipment for the job. So hopefully that helps. We'll see you next Wednesday.